Hey everyone, thank you for waiting patiently. Sorry we have some technical difficulties with the internet today, but luckily everything is up and running. And so I won't take up too much of your time, but I just wanted to go back in. I realized that the first part did not record appropriately, so I'm going to remove that one. And when Lisa's here, we're going to redo that one. But just to go back through what we're talking about today is God's promises are everlasting. And it's amazing that, there's challenges that we have come to face. And a lot of times we forget what it really means to have him everlasting, always present. He's always there. One of the things that I love is that Revelations, to me, it spoke when it, I want to say, was it 2022? Let me think real quick. I know this. 22:13. I keep some records because I have to. But when it says that he's Alpha and Omega, it really took me back to understanding that the beginning and the end is a very important thing to understand. And the beginning means that he has been there from the start. Ever since something happened, ever since before it even happened, he was with you. Before you were even here, he was with you. And so being able to know that this is a journey that he is taking with you. He is going to lead you as long as you choose to be obedient. He is going to take you where you need to go to get to your end. There are some things that he will allow to happen in the middle. We always talk about the beginning, we talk about the end, but before we get too much to the end, in the middle is where the chaos is, the problems, the frustrations, life's journeys, during life's journey, what happens. And so as you begin to deal with that, a lot of times we stray, a lot of times we get unfocused, unclear. I had some issues today, and I literally said, this is my brother, don't play about this. And then suddenly, after I wanted to know some more information, you no longer have conversation for me, which I'm like, I just don't need you to play on my phone. It caused me to think that I'm going to be distracted. This is not going to happen. That's not going to happen. This and that is going to happen. I don't know what's going on. And in those situations, what I used to do, I used to worry. I used to freak out. I couldn't think straight. And now I'm in a position to say, you know what? I don't like what's happening. I don't agree with how it's happening, but it doesn't change the fact that I have some things to do today. I have some things I have to get through. I have some people who are depending on me to get through these things. I must move forward. It's painful. I don't like doing it this way, but I do have to move forward. I do have to make effort. I do have to push. I do have to keep going. It made me realize how much of a negative person I can be. It made me realize that I will intentionally say, let's take this, separate, poof, be gone. You stay over there, I will stay over here, and I will be just fine. And it made me realize even this morning to check my attitude about some things, even with talking with my sister and realizing some things. I'm like, wow, one of the things that, even though I'm not perfect, especially with the attitude problems that I have, I like the fact that I have some honesty. I don't have to sit in someone's face and smile in their face and pretend to like them. I can be real. I don't like this. I don't like how you treat me, but I can still get something done. I can still complete something. I can still move forward, because bitterness never gets you to the right end. It gets you to an end, but it doesn't get you to God's end. It doesn't get you to that Omega end. And so your expected end is really where God needs to place you. Too much bitterness will cause you to stop in the middle, in the midst of your problems, in the midst of your situation, and not allow you to move forward. And this has been one of the first times I said, I'm not going to act crazy, I'm not going to get wild, and I'm not going to get belligerent. And since Sunday, everything has been coming to try to attack my peace. I've been getting random problems. People who I never have an issue with were frustrated with me. And I was like, I could try to worry about how could I scrap this? Can I save this? Can I resolve this? Well, that's your choice. You have a blessed day. I've got someplace to be. And now I kind of feel like I was made late. And now I'm going to try to rush. And instead of rushing, now I just got to, make sure I get there when I get there. And I can't make my situation worse. It's not going to be a mountain. I'm going to keep you a molehill. And so that happened on Sunday. Then on Monday, I had to be very transparent with someone that I love deeply. And I care about them so much to where telling them how I feel, even about how we interact, even how we speak to each other. Sometimes I'm like, you don't understand what you're doing hurts, what you're saying hurts. And it's because I don't bother saying anything to you about it. I just don't want to be rude or insensitive to what you're going through. And so a lot of times holding on to that, it was making me very bitter, and I let him have it. It probably shouldn't have come out with as much intensity at one point, but I was like, okay, wait, hush. And I was like, wait, I'm done. Disregard all of that. That was my fault. I repent for that. And he was like, I can't deny that you feel that way, nor am I going to tell you not to feel. So it was very important to understand that bitterness is your feelings. And it made me realize, I just got off the phone call and I was like, wow, I'm going back to living my life on feelings and not facts. The fact is, God has an end for me. God has an expected end for me. God has a place where I need to be. God will direct me to this place. My situation and my problems will direct me to this place if I choose to. If I choose to go, if I choose to let him direct me here, I can get somewhere. The truth is that it's purely fact. Purely fact. Purely fact. And one of the biggest facts is that God's promises are everlasting. Who God is everlasting. He doesn't change who he is. He does not change who he is. And I can't remember the exact scripture. In the second half says that neither is God the Son of Man that he should repent. He is never going to, I made a mistake. I apologize. Let me take that back and turn away from it. He will never say that. He will never say that. He will say, that is my word. That is my word. That is exactly what I have to honor. It will not return unto me void. So therefore I have to do what has already been sent out with that purpose. What has already been sent out with that plan. I have to honor that. I stop. Now I'm getting better and I'm learning to catch it sooner than later of saying, you know what? I'm just going to stop and pray. I'm going to start speaking life. I'm going to start speaking what God says. I'm going to start speaking his promises, his blessing, his healing, his deliverance, his joy, his peace. Because right now, if I do it in me, La Loca's going to come out. Jamario might pop out. I might have some all kinds of alter egos pop up, be angry, be all over the place, and then have to repent for something or apologize for something later. People who know me know I really don't apologize. And when I have to, is one of the most irritating things for me. It's more irritating than it is painful. I don't know why, but I'm just like, why? I did it. Oops. But knowing that when I say something, I mean something. When I say something, I do something. And lately, there's been some things that have been given to me that I haven't completed because I tried doing them at my level. I tried doing them as who I am and just with my own strength. And that does not work out. It does not work out because I'm not doing it the way God told me to do it. I'm assuming this is what I should do because I'm not talking to God about it. I'm not even sending God on it. I realize when someone can confess to me that they've been smiling in my face for 6 years, smiling in my family's face for 6 years, pretending that everything was cool between us, but it literally got to the point where I have to aggravate you. I have to call you names. I have to tell you just how low of a person you are. I have to bring it down to your level of communication for you to be real honest with me. I have to listen to you. This is after you throw, for the most part, deep, close family members to me under the bus. It's not like you can deny it because they're text messages with screenshots. So, like it's something to where I'm like, okay, things could be worse. Did I do that? Absolutely. And yeah, I shouldn't have done that. You know what, Lord? Help me with my problems, because I'm not going back on that, because those are facts. I put some of my feelings in there, but those things that are facts, I'm not going back on that. I'm not going to change what is the truth. Don't change the truth. Knowing God is everlasting, don't change the truth. When you know something is real, when you know something is a fact, stand on that fact. One of my favorite facts is 1 Peter 5:10. And when it talks about the fact that after you have suffered a little while, oh God, I have it exactly too. Hi, Lisa.
Hey, did you notice that GitHub, or that, this is with my programmers. Did you notice that Jitsi is working with the YouTube? Oh, good, you're live and you're recording, and the audio works today.
Say hi, Lisa.
Hey.
It takes us a minute to get set up here, but no worries. I apologize. I didn't check back on my email, but I just want to let you know that it was upstairs.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I replied. I thought you were going to skip today, or is it next week that you're skipping?
I think it's next week that I have to skip.
Okay, I wrote you down for next week, but I'll change that then. Cool.
So I apologize. Sometimes I'm like, yes, you and I both know. Wink. Yes. And so it says that, after you suffered a little while, the God of all grace will confirm, establish, and complete you. And that has been one of the things that I've understood, is that this process is painful. This process is rough. I can't tell anyone what I'm going through who doesn't know me personally. But the situation I'm going through is like an unheard of thing. And the old me, people were like, you should have, we thought you would have been locked up in the loony bin by now. We thought you would have tried to kill yourself. We thought you would have tried to go through all this kind of stuff. Well, what happened was that it just wasn't something he was going to allow me to do. When this first happened, it was July 27, 2017. I just left a meeting that completely changed my whole life, and it's still affecting me today. And I apologize, guys, if the tears fall. I'm just going to let them go and keep going. I remember going home. I couldn't breathe. I was so terrified. And I was just so lost. I was confused. My sister came over. She helped me get some things together so that way they got what they needed. And when she left, I just remembered wanting to tear up the whole house. I remembered wanting to put my fist through walls. I remember having the feeling of I'm just going to bang my head in. And I said, I've already got a headache. I've been crying. I think by now I had probably smoked 5 or 6 cigarettes. And I said, you know what? Today is the end. If they are not with me, I cannot imagine my life without them. And so I took and I smoked 2 packs of cigarettes. I literally smoked 40 cigarettes in one day. I had a bottle of brandy, and it was about this big. It was huge. I don't know sizes for alcohol. But I drank the whole bottle, and I said, you know what? I'm going to get some kind of poisoning. I'm going to go to sleep, and I'm just never going to wake up again. I'll be completely fine with that. And I passed out. I remember my head hurting so bad that just to open my eyes was just killing me. And I remember closing my eyes. I remember the tears rolling. And I woke up the next day. No headache, no poisoning, no side effects. I was still depressed. I still was mentally off. But literally all the stuff I attempted to do to take myself out of here did not work. And it was abundantly clear that the mentality of saying, I'm just going to let go, I'm just going to give out, I'm just going to give up and say, be done, it was no longer something I should waste my time on. The fact was that God was not going to let me kill myself. I had already tried to. And I literally tried another attempt about a month after that. And right before I decided to do it, I don't know why I thought this way, but mind you, I'm still in ministry. I'm still doing what I need to do. And I said, okay, we have prayer meeting tonight. So because it's push prayer, I know I've got to work the door. I'm going to be there working the door and praying. And, I'll get home. I have some pills. I'll take all those pills and I'll just be done. I'll just be toast. I'll go to sleep and just not wake up. I'll be cool with that. And so prayer, I'm still there. My mind's not really there because I'm thinking of, do I need to say any last words to someone? Should I write a letter? Should I do something? Should I not do something? How should I end this? What is my last thing going to be? And I remember that my dad, my spiritual father, he was closing prayer, and he, in the middle of closing, he just began to turn around and he just started speaking life to me. And a lot of times the church doesn't understand some of my reactions, but I was laughing, and I just could not stop laughing. And I just looked up and I was like, God, you got jokes. So it was another reason of saying there's no point in doing it at all. And I went home, I had flushed all the pills, and I was like, there's no point in wasting my time figuring this out. And I said, I can either let this situation kill me, or I can cause it to allow me to live. So I got back into writing. I got back to doing what I needed to do. I went to therapy. It caused me to heal from over 25 years of abuse. Guys, I'm 29. So going through it, I still have some issues with like sound triggers. I do have PTSD. So different sound triggers, different like physical triggers, texture, stuff like that still make me like jump or take me into different mindsets. But not wanting to self-harm is a blessing. Learning to love myself is a blessing. Learning to love myself as God loved me is a blessing, because sometimes we look at vanity as love for ourselves. We look at self-serving pride. We look at our possessions as love for ourselves. We find love for ourselves in items, but we don't really take the chance to know that we have to love ourselves unconditionally, without shame, without guilt, in spite of what we've done, to actually throw that out and cast that aside and say, that was yesterday. That was yesterday. If it was 5 minutes ago, it's yesterday for me. I can move forward. I messed up this morning, but I'm still moving forward. I'm still moving forward. So I encourage you to move forward. And Lisa, are you booting?
Am I booting?
Mm-hmm. Are you booting up?
I'm my computer's up, but I wasn't gonna go to that page because I was afraid of the feedback.
Oh,
do you want?
no,
I can.
No, that does not work, because we've tried that. The feedback is real.
Yeah.
Did you want to pop in on the screen?
Yeah, I can move down here and get on the other screen. Oh, get on your screen. Oh yeah, that'd be fun. That'd be fun. No, you were going on a story there, and I didn't want to interrupt that story. I was listening.
I wanted to ask a question.
Okay. Oh, okay. Ooh. Great.
What is one of the things that you've always held fast to? Something, a promise that you always keep in your mind?
Oh, yeah, that's kind of an interesting thing. Because it's always important to me to be reliable. So if I say I'm going to do something, I do it. Like if I actually, no matter if I say it to one person, if I say it to 10 people, I make sure that if I said I was going to do that, that I am there, that I follow through, and because not everybody does that. And that's kind of a pet peeve of mine, when people don't follow through on things that I thought that they would do.
Mm-hmm.
And that happens all the time, especially, when you want some volunteers or whatever to work on something. But so that's a big thing to me, is to like follow through on what you say you're going to do.
Yeah, honoring your word is a huge thing as well. I would probably say that's one of my huge pet peeves. I'm like, I will be broke and honor my word, and people will not know. Like, there's no dinner on my table for me. But I did do what I said I was going to do. Do you find that it's mainly because that's for your own integrity, or because it's more of a pet peeve, or it's more of something you don't like someone doing to you?
I think it's more, I'm more tolerant of somebody else not following through on their word than I am of myself not following through, because I hold myself to a higher standard than I hold other people. And part of it's because I'm super smart, but part of it's because I respect other people who hold their word, and so to me it's important to be someone that I respect. So if I don't respect myself, how can I expect other people to respect me?
Can you say that one more time? Just let me bring the microphone over there just a little bit louder. I love that.
Yeah, if I don't respect myself, how can I expect other people to respect me?
I love that. I love that. So many people nowadays pay no attention to that. I'm just like, you wanted that man to be 100% good man, but you can't even put on 100% of a shirt.
100% of a shirt.
Just I don't know where that was going.
Yeah. Also, because I volunteer with the teen group, and so I think that if you're gonna work with kids, especially when they're at that age and figuring out who they're going to be as adults.
Yes.
Yeah. So I consider myself as a role model. So I want to be the kind of person that I want them to become. So I'll offer them opportunities for exposure to knowledge, and but also opportunities to talk to someone about whatever they need to talk about. And so I think as someone who works with other people's kids, or volunteers with other people's kids, that it's really important to have a lot of integrity. And because if I had kids and somebody was working with them, I would want to know all about them and be able to trust that they are good role models for my kids. So I also encourage, like, if I see the kids' parents at church, I'll go introduce myself to them. I haven't met a lot of the kids' parents, because sometimes what usually happens is most of the kids go to a different time mass than we go to, and then but then come to the teen group. So I go to the masses right before teen group, but usually they go with their parents in the morning and then come to the teen group in the afternoon on their own. But if they are at mass with their parents, I'll go and introduce myself to their parents, because I figure they should know who's hanging out with their teens on Sunday nights.
Right.
And I want to be the kind of person that the parents won't complain about. Although if they do complain, it'll be for different reasons. It'll be because my version of being religious might be different than their version. Because I'm not super religious, but I have high integrity. So it's not because of religion that I have integrity. It's because of humanism, but I believe in what is going on in the church group with the teens. So I believe in volunteering with them, because they're really good teens, and they are great when they're together. And I'm really happy that they have this place to come every Sunday night where they are themselves and where they are nurtured by each other and by good adults. But they're really good. All the teens are really good for each other. So I believe in that environment for them, and I want to make sure that they continue to have that kind of environment for each other as they become adults.
That's awesome. I know it takes a special kind of person to deal with not just children, but certain age groups. And I say that because I'm just like, I have a 9-year-old and almost 4-year-old. He'll be 4 on Sunday. But, thinking of their attitudes, I have one of them who, both of them have so many parts of me. And one of them was like, I don't care if you take it away. I never had it. Like, that's not going to bother. Send me to my room. I don't care about punishments. Like, the other one, he's got that Puerto Rican spice to him, and just yeah. You're too small, midget, to do that to me. So when I think of all that stuff, and I start thinking about who I was as a teenager, as you were talking, I was like, I couldn't be a teacher. I would literally just take my wig off. I would sit it on the desk, and I would be like, that's the most you can get from me today. I'm out.
Get my wig.
I'm
get
out.
My hair.
I wrote some stuff on the board before you guys got in here, but I don't have enough. I don't have any will not to be like, I'm gonna chain you down to your chair. We're taking away all cell phones right now, and I don't think I mentally could do it because it's personalities. Like you said, that's a lot of times where I have a tendency in my family around 14, 15-ish. We go through I want a baby phases.
Oh, right.
And then
I never had that.
Speak all that over my kids.
Yeah.
I would be totally cool with that. Like all that, and I'll put that over there on them. But I realized that another one of the things that we did as teenagers is we all went through rebellious phases. And so some of them not as big. Me, I was like shrunk down to one room. So I tried hitting that wall every time. Like, I will never forget my senior year when I was finally put on like a public school. I had honors classes, so I was also on community college campus. I went wild.
Oh, wow.
I went wild. I at some points I was skipping classes. I had a class and I don't speak Spanish at best, as someone who at least had one semester of it should, because I had decided to sleep with one of the girls to do my work for Spanish. And I was just like, are you at class? Yes. Shh. Where are you guys at? We're at the mall. Come find me. We're at the bus stop at the mall. And I was a really horrible teenager, especially 17, 18. I had one point where I took sandwiches and I cut them up into like 4s, and then we threw sandwiches at emo kids and really skinny kids, like telling them to go eat. Like I was really mean.
You guys need food.
But I was mean about it. You know what I'm saying? Like they should have probably had a hug before that.
Yeah.
I was also a really mean person that I went through a whole, I know you guys are going to probably think I'm terrible, but I went through a whole racist phase. And so being in Chandler and seeing a Black girl with a white guy was really weird for them, and they would literally stare at us and, you got a problem? Are you okay? While you're looking at me, while we're making some eye contact, let me ask you some questions. And I would blatantly ask, women, when did you get your change done? You look so realistic. Like, those are almost... It's smart to make them, asymmetrical, so that way they don't look fake. Like, and people, like, I was very mean.
That's so weird. I think most people would be kind of like, it's mean, but it's so ridiculous that I think people would be more just amused at the weirdness of the question.
So a lot of times I never really was met with someone with a lot of wisdom.
Oh, okay.
And then I chose not to use any wisdom. I didn't even choose to use knowledge at a lot of points of my teenage years. And then it would scare people because, I would randomly talk to someone else who doesn't know me personally, and they're like, you used the word I don't know. What was it? Deluged? Oh, I apologize. Ebonics Amber is coming in like 3 more minutes, but for right now, you're going to hear a couple more words that you don't know. Okay. So it was weird for even people that I hung with to know that, I was low-key smart. And I always hid stuff just to try to fit in. So I honor you for taking teenagers, because if it was like me, it was a nightmare.
Well, it's interesting that you said that you had to hide that you were, or you felt you had to hide that you were smart. Because when I was a kid, I didn't feel like, I knew that like part of my identity was that I was smart. And so when I was little, I lived on a farm there. So there weren't, and I went to a Catholic school. So there were like 5 kids in my class. Mm-hmm. In my kindergarten class, I think we had like 20 or 25 or whatever. But when I went to, they didn't have Catholic school for the kindergarten. I went to public school and then Catholic school for first grade. And so there just weren't a lot of kids, and I was like a lot smarter. Mm-hmm. And I'm looking back and I'm trying to think, well, how did people know? Well, first of all, I could read before I got to kindergarten, and nobody else could. So I guess that was, and because I had that curiosity, but the thanks. Even though I had the intelligence, so I knew that's kind of who I was, because I had the curiosity and the ability, but that wasn't valued. There was like no reward for it. There were grades, but instead of having a reward for good grades, it seemed more like there would be punishment for bad grades. So the reason for getting good grades was just because I could put the right answer, and so why not? Right. But it wasn't, I think maybe by high school, being smart was a little bit more rewarded. So when I was a teen, there were a lot of cool kids who were also smart kids. And so that was a good thing. But when I was younger, being smart wasn't cool. And in some ways, I had thought, I remember when I was like in middle school, I didn't go to middle school. I went to grade school, first through 8th grade. But I do remember thinking, well, why not just pretend I'm not smart for a while? Because there's no a punishment. It seemed like there was a punishment for being smart. So I thought I should do that, but I couldn't. Like I just wouldn't. Like to me, that was like betraying who I was. So it felt like I could do that, but I would be lying not just to other people, but to me. And which is funny, because I didn't really understand how great that would be to be smart once I got older. Once I got in college, being smart was like king, Right. So of course I kept, being smart and getting good grades and doing all the right stuff. But it took a while before being smart was something that was rewarded. But I think today's kids are rewarded more for being smart than kids were when I was a kid.
Oh, yes. And I understand what you're saying about Catholic school. So the high school I went to, I was able to go to, I need to turn off Facebook notifications.
It's making a lot of noises there.
Oh my goodness. But for real though, like if someone's sending me some cash, I want it to ding every time. Yeah. Lord, thou art my savior. Goodness. But going to a Christian prep, the whole high school was 30 kids. I was one of the, I was like, I'm 10% of the Black population on this campus. And then being the awkward one, because I was smart in different areas. So that was where I got a lot of my knowledge base as far as wording or as far as like vocabulary. But because I was never held to the fact of having a learning disability, because I was fantastic, they're like, who's this little 6-year-old who can do algebra? Like, you know, read.
Oh,
I didn't learn my first 50 words until I was 6.
oh, wow.
My first book that I read was One Fish, Two Fish, Red Fish,
Oh,
Blue Fish.
okay.
And I read that all the way through without hesitation. And I don't want to tell you how I learned how to read because that's completely inappropriate. But
I can't imagine an inappropriate way to learn.
a very inappropriate way to trade your body for some lessons.
Weird.
But,
Okay.
back being in that type of psych ward, back in the 90s, they really didn't do any kind of age grouping with behavioral health. So you had kids, you had adults, and you had all kids.
Oh, okay.
I mean, 6 to 17.
Yeah.
I mean, well, I guess even I was the youngest one. I never seen anyone my age or younger there. But because of that, you're dealing with people who have mental disease. And at that time, I didn't know any better. I'm 6 years old.
Right.
So,
Right.
but, you know, going through all that stuff, and I was able to do easy things like calc and trig, like those were great for me. Chemistry was great for me. Biology was great for me. History was horrible. And so, like, I would always want to try to get good grades because there were some things that just never stuck for me. And if it wasn't like a formula, it just did not stick.
Oh, right.
And I would remember, like, spending one time, I can't remember what the history test was for. I was in 8th grade and I studied with my mom for 5 hours. She read things to me, made me write stuff down, made me make flashcards. And then when it came time for her to quiz me, I just kept freaking out because I was like, I don't know. And because I don't know, I'm going to get beat. And I feel myself getting like, and I started thinking like, and like, what is she probably doing? That's my reaction to getting hit when you can't scream out and you just, that whole breath taken away, that's what you feel like. And so I just remember literally having like anxiety attacks, and it's lasted like my whole life. Like when I have tests to take, I know it seems weird. I do weird things. I get lightheaded. I used to, back when I was still drinking, I would take like, you know, a couple shots of tequila and then go in and take a test because I needed my nerves.
Help.
I needed my nerves to be off. So
Okay.
actually, my favorite one that I did that with, 5.5 years ago, I first started with Liberty Mutual, and with that, everyone was terrified to take the insurance licensing with the state of Arizona. And so we had studied for a week and a half, and I was like, I'm going to go in here and I'm going to do this. And before I got on the bus, I took 3 shots of 1800 Black Label. And then I got there to the testing area and I went in the bathroom and I said, you're going to ace this. And I walked out with an 83%. And so that was the highest one in the class.
Oh, wow.
So
Okay.
I was like, you know,
That's good.
I made it.
Yeah.
And people were just like, what did you do to take? I said, I needed to get my nerves off. So now I don't drink, but now like when I have like serious tests to take, I'll just what are you gonna do? I'm gonna meditate all the way down to like near exhaustion, and then I'm gonna take my test. Like I'm gonna be like super drowsy taking this test, and it's just different ways to cope with that. I'm waiting to get into EMDR, and I'm hoping that with this therapy that I'm not like triggered to have so much anxiety problems. And then the good thing about EMDR is it also is supposed to help you stop being triggered for violence as well.
Oh, okay.
So eye movement, rapid desensitization or something.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I can never get the R and the D, but I got the E and the M. essentially you fall like back and forth. They make you relive your trauma. And then what you do is, as you're reliving it, they then help you restore it in your mind.
Okay.
So that way, when you see certain things, they usually do this for war veterans.
Yeah.
But because of my length of abuse and my history of it, they're just like, you're just as bad.
Yeah.
What you want this? So I'm looking forward to like the day where people dragging their feet doesn't bother me, or like talking and eating wildly. Like, you know what I'm talking about? Like the mushy mouth sounds. I'm like, I don't know if I need to punch you, slap you, throw you out the window, throw myself out the window, or just show your mouth shut. And you know what I'm saying? And it shouldn't be that extreme. I should just be like, oh, that's an annoying sound.
Yeah, that's an annoying sound. Yeah.
Okay. I want to get to that point, but I don't ever want to, like things that people never see as an issue. I'll sit up there and I'll start crying, and I'm like, I don't know what to do. I hear people yelling and I don't know what to do.
Oh.
I don't want to go see. Right. I just don't want it to be over here, because if it gets over here, I've got something in my grocery cart and I'm going to find something to hit you with. Like, matter of fact, I don't even need something in the cart. I just have my keys, because like being in Detroit, that's a literally fight for your life type of city. And I would always have to take last buses from work. And at 11:15 p.m. in the middle of the dark, sitting on Woodward, trying to go down Joseph Campo, there's on the other side, there's what used to be a church. And the building is eaten away because crackhead still breaks off of the buildings, especially abandoned ones. I learned from the crackhead that you get 60 cents a brick. So if it's intact,
I never heard that one. Okay.
Yeah, I was completely shocked. I was like, glad I said no to drugs. At least this one.
Yeah.
At least this one, because that's the most randomest and embarrassing thing I've heard in a long time. But being there down Joseph Campo, what would happen is you would see at every little side street a woman standing in the middle of the street.
Okay.
Those were prostitutes waiting for people to come through.
Okay.
Usually at that time of night, it was very rare that you would see them out like that. So me standing at that bus stop, especially when the women would take them behind the abandoned church to handle business, I would get approached and I'd be like, no, please no. And then I'd always have to, I'm dressed for work, so I would always have to be like, should I run in these hills? Should I? And we weren't allowed to take weapons. So I had a man who pulled over and he refused. Like, he was not taking no. And I was like, I'm not going to pick up an STD for $10.
Yeah, really.
I'm just not okay with that. And so I fought him with nothing but my keys between my knuckles.
Oh, wow.
So a lot of times when, people are just like, oh, you don't fight, you're not. I was like, we have enough near-death experiences. You no longer fight out of anger.
Yeah.
One of us is going to die.
Yeah.
And it's not going to be me. You better shoot me right between the eyes. That's how. And I want to be able to no longer have like those type of reactions.
Yeah.
Because of, all that stuff and all that violence. I want to be able to be like, I was never exposed to this stuff.
Yeah.
That's oblivious thought. So I'm hoping to get there. I'm hoping to hear back sometime within the next month or so to get started, but I'm looking forward to it. It's a part of my journey, and I'm looking forward to some peace about it too. Yeah, I have no clue how we got on that, but Lisa, I just want to say thank you. Thank you for allowing us with this platform. And this will end today's session. So we're going to redo the first one that didn't properly record. We're going to be doing that one not next week, but the week after. So I hope you guys have a wonderful, wonderful holiday. Christmas. What did they try to?
Kwanzaa.
What did they try to? What was the word that they tried
Festivus?
to put it all together?
I don't know.
Christmas Hansa Quantica or something. They used to have like some random chopped up word for it. But whatever you celebrate during the holidays, I wish you a happy holiday.